Hi, Sarupa here from the soulagentblog.com, and this is the second video where I'm talking about inner work. So if you've missed the first video, you'll find it either on my blog if that's where you are, or it'll be the video one or two below this one on YouTube. But it doesn't matter that you've come to the second one first, you can watch the first one later. Now in the first one, just a quick recap, I talked about why inner work is really key to unlocking your abundance and wealth. And the statement that I was using and really going deeper into was the statement that I'm sure you've heard and you use, that the outer world is a reflection of your inner world. And particularly so when it comes to money, it's the place where people find the idea of doing inner work really quite difficult. The idea, because there's this idea that it's going to be frightening. We're going to find out things about ourselves that prove that we're not worth it, prove that we're not supposed to ever be successful in this life, prove that we haven't got really anything of value to offer. It's all this fear that's actually being spewed out by the stuff that's blocking our inner light, our inner being, which is our soul, which connects to our higher self and to source and all that is. So the junk around it, that brick wall that I was talking about, all that kind of clutter that's in the way, the stories around money, the limitations, the fear, the conditions, everything that is commonly known as the money blocks, kind of live and float around and create this almost solid-like structure that prevents us from really moving forward. And it's not as if we feel like we're standing still, because we can have peaks and troughs with our money, but they seem to be more of that kind of downward stuff. And when that's occurring, it's a bit of a clue that your soul is really sending very powerful impulses to say, it's time to move beyond this. It's time to move beyond this phase to the next phase, because there's lots of amazing things waiting in your soul path that you have a contract and a destiny to achieve, experience, if you're willing to move beyond where you are at this point in time. There's also a point where we've reached a financial ceiling. So perhaps you have done money work. Perhaps, you've been earning quite well and you've understood, a level of manifesting money, level of, how to fulfill and live your purpose. But suddenly you feel like you've hit this metaphoric brick wall or ceiling, and you can't move beyond it. And then suddenly it starts to feel like things are even going in reverse, or you feel like your creativity is being stifled and your business or your career may suddenly become boring because you can't get to what you really want to do. You can't even, maybe you can feel there's something else and you can't even get to voice it or identify it through meditation or anything. It's just something that's in the way, and yet you can feel there's something more coming. Or you're in the third category, which is where I feel, from my experience, and certainly where I was for a very long time, this idea as a sort of spiritual, heart-centered person that, money's man-made, it can't be any good, and if I just keep trying and accept the struggle, things are going to change, and suddenly you wake up to it. And even though you can kind of hot step between that place and knowing and understanding that that money is energy and money is spiritual, you can kind of feel like you're seesawing between the two. But when you start to wake up to it, you want to address it. And then it's that thing of, well, how do I address it? Where do I go? What do I do? So in this video, I want to explore a little bit about what inner work is really, particularly for heart-centered and spiritual people, people that are walking that path of purposeful consciousness, what really is the best kind of inner work to do. Because one of the things with inner work, because of the fear of it that I was just talking about, people can, skim on the surface, because it's like, well, I've done a little bit, that should be enough. I don't want to go any deeper because I don't want to find something about myself that I won't like. That's that kind of fear of shrinking, saying, I've done enough. And when we're thinking that, It's literally that we're thinking it. Our soul isn't telling us that, because there's always more. That's the journey of life. There's, that's abundance in action. It's the continuation of more is more is more is more is more is more. There's always room for expansion. There is always room for us to become, greater vessels of light, and to, align more deeply and fulfill, more of our potential in any moment. So this kind of skimming around the surface, which is why I always say to people, don't try and do this on your own. Don't try and feel that you can find that shortcut that says I can do this on my own, because we're not designed to see our own blind spots. We're not designed to, we're not comfortable challenging ourselves. We're not comfortable being uncomfortable or in any discomfort when it comes to looking at ourselves. So we can kind of try and smooth it over a little bit too much. We pacify it and try and make it, it's not that important, or, it's terrible. So we can kind of go into one of the two extremes, but neither one actually helps propel us forward into deepening that alignment with abundance and claiming that abundance and claiming that wealth. And at Heal Your Money Patterns program, which is my 5-week sort of money healing boot camp, which I do 3 times a year, the big primary focus is doing money inner work to change your money story and to change how you manifest and to change your relationship with money. And we look at it from 3 perspectives. So we look at it from the emotional body. Now, the emotional body is where all our fears are held, and that is one of the key parts of our money story. It's so key, the emotional body and its relationship with money. It's kind of, makes or breaks our money story at any point. And just because you've done some emotional work, a few years ago, doesn't mean that it's done. It means that a layer of it was done. So it's this continuation, this ongoing process. So we start looking at the emotional body, and we also then look at the mental body. Now, there's a lot of work out there that's doing, money mindset stuff. And that's primarily, the clue is in the word. It's all in the mindset. But it's really important that you do the two. They don't have to be done concurrently. We don't do them that way in the Heal Your Money Patterns program, but it is addressing an aspect of the emotional body, aspects of the mental body, and then aligning to the soul, then allowing the soul to speak, then allowing the soul's guidance to come through. And this process, even though I've drawn it as a Venn diagram, is actually, it's a kind of reiterative process. It's ongoing, and then it happens as you get more and more used to the processes and the tools that that I share in Heal Your Money Patterns program, and you get to use them yourself more and more because they are life tools. It's an ongoing process. So you might decide that you're creating a part of your dream, which was to create a retreat that you've never ever done before. So you're going to come and hit your resistance. You're going to hit those, I can't do this, who me, what have I got to offer? All those little bits can start to kind of re-emerge, where you might have addressed them in another area of your business and life, but they may re-emerge because you're venturing into new territory. You're pioneering something in your life and in your business. So yes, this old stuff comes up. But it's then being able to address it through looking at the emotional and mental body, and then being able to ensure that the soul has a really, really clear channel to communicate with you, to inspire you, and to provide you with guidance that comes from your higher self, from your guides, from your teachers, from your masters in spirit, so that you're really working with the light, for the light, and being the light. And light and abundance, and part of that, the sort of same side, different sides of the same coin. They're part of that same energy of all that is. It's part of that process. So where, if it's being dimmed in one area, it's going to be impacting another area. And this is why it's another sort of spiritual term, that everything is connected. Change your money story and you will change your business. You will change your relationship with yourself. You will change your health. You will change how you attract, how you manifest. It changes absolutely everything, because the key is, it's the relationship with yourself, because you're clearing out the junk, you're clearing out the clutter, you're clearing out what isn't actually part of the light. So it's this emotional and mental detox the ego and personality, when they're combined, that's what they become, the emotional and mental body. It's that detox. So it's really important when you're doing and venturing into doing inner work to change your money story, that you look at it from the perspective of your emotional body and your mental body, and not just one. Because if you just focus on one, you're ignoring the others, and that doesn't mean that it's going to, what it's holding as blocks in your inner world just go away on their own, but you're also putting one aspect of either mental or emotional body in the driving seat, so you create a tension between the two, so you're creating a new set of challenges for yourself. And it's not just those two, because it's about also bringing their energy to align with your soul, so that your soul guides your life. That is the most powerful inner work that you can do, and this is something that we do on Heal Your Money Patterns program. On the screen below, or just underneath this video, you're going to see a link to that program. Go and check it out, find out when the next program is running, get yourself signed up to join, so that you can have your money metamorphosis. You can have your opportunity to go in deep in a tried and tested 5-week program, where you will be supported to go in deep and understand why things are there, and understand what steps you can take to actually change your inner world, so that your outer world reflects the abundance that you are already connected to, so that your outer world is where you can have money flow to you through your purpose and through your service. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure that you share it with your friends and leave me a comment, or if you've got any questions, I will come back and answer them. And I will look forward to welcoming you on Heal Your Money Patterns program, where you get your own toolkit. We go through this over a 5-week period. There are 5 live sessions, and then you're left with this toolkit that you can use, exercises, processes, meditations throughout the rest of your life. This stuff doesn't have a sell-by date. It just will take you deeper and deeper and deeper, because it's always a refinement of the inner world, so that your inner being is free to shine, and your higher self steps in, and you're really, really aligned to the light, to the purpose, and to the service that you were born to be aligned to. So I hope you've enjoyed this mini series, and I look forward to connecting to you soon.